All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful morning. It is April 16th, 2025, and we got a big day ahead of us. We already got the retail sales. It didn't cause too big of a reaction. It came in a little stronger, but then we are going to be hearing from Jerome Powell. It's going to take a couple of hours, so the market's going to trade, and then we are awaiting the results from one of your first big trading partners, Japan. So people are getting a little hyped on it. They're talking about it. But then everything last night, the NVIDIA, the 1% drop, that is still in play, and that's kind of giving us our negative reaction. Other than that, though, the market is getting ready for earnings. They're getting ready for these deals. And this week, with all the headlines, we are still moving very, very slow. So we'll see if that changes here on Wednesday, but today's probably going to be our day with the most amount of catalysts. So we'll see where it takes us, Chatadonia. But I hope you're living good. And good morning. What up, Tim Whitman? What up, Hombre? Hocha, Angel, Dos Nacho, Battle Boy. Good morning, baby. What up, Axel? Dakota, Mr. Malone, Mr. Edwards, El Trapado, Christina, Jamal, Rico, Lumbo Business, King, baby. What's going on? CJ, Fates, Jordan, Mark, Lucky, Soldier. Good morning. You mad? Ghost Pimpos, Vacation, Alyssa, Noah, Deco, Nick. Oh, my goodness, the Chad. Oh, y'all woke good already for Wednesday, huh? What up, Johnny B. Good? Good morning, Thomas. What up, Canella? Oh, my goodness. Good morning. What about the Twitch? What about El Coyote, Iron Beagle, Feed Me Seymour, Dante, Dennis, Shotgun Tommy, Epic Eric, Preforms, Blowing Dome, Mr. Mystery, Sultan Pepper, Roach Vince, 12 Jim and Lizzie, El Coyote, Pie Guy, and Robo Hand Tech, baby. Good morning. So, Chad, I hope you feeling blessed. I hope you are feeling blessed. It's Wednesday, man, middle of the week. Time flies, baby. Time flies. Here is Josh AI with the news, baby. Good morning. U.S. futures sink as NVIDIA, ASML revive tech worry. Tech stocks led a slump in global equities after the Trump administration imposed new restrictions on NVIDIA Corp's chip exports to China amid deepening trade tensions. NASDAQ 100 futures fell 1.4%. NVIDIA shares lost about 6% in pre-market trading. ASML holding NV sank more than 7% on lower than expected orders, citing weakness in the chip sector in Europe. The stock 600 index lost 0.5%. The dollar weakened. Gold set a record high and the Swiss franc rallied. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is expected to give a speech later in the day, and investors will be watching March retail sales data for a reading of consumer sentiment before the tariff turmoil. Stocks paired some of the losses in the morning session on signs China may be open to negotiations with the U.S., sparking some optimism over the possibility of easing trade tensions. China wants a number of steps from President Donald Trump's administration before it will agree to talks, including showing more respect by reining in disparaging remarks by members of his cabinet. According to a person familiar with the Chinese government's thinking, we're keeping a defensive stance during this period of uncertainty while being increasingly cautious on tech stocks and industries which have a high share of their value chain exposed to China, said Francois Antomarchi, a fund manager at Degroof Petercam Asset Management. There's the question of knowing when we hit the bottom, geopolitically speaking, of the trade war, and I'm not sure we're there yet. Meanwhile, UK bonds rallied after inflation eased more than expected in March, spurring increased bets from traders on Bank of England interest rates. The dollar spot index slid as much as 0.6% on Wednesday after rising for the first time in 6 days on Tuesday. In commodities, oil erased an earlier decline after the report that China is potentially open to trade talks with the U.S. Bullion gained as much as 2.7% to climb above $3,300 an ounce for the first time, surpassing the previous record set on Monday. The U.S. government informed NVIDIA on Monday that its H20 chip would require a license to export to China for the indefinite future. The new rules address Washington's concerns that the covered products may be used in or diverted to a supercomputer in China, the company said in a filing. NVIDIA warned it will report about $5.5 billion in write-downs during the current quarter tied to inventory and commitments for the chip. This move is unnerving for two reasons, said Vishnu Varathan, Singapore-based head of economics and strategy at Mizuho Bank, referring to the NVIDIA curbs. First, it conveys the mercurial nature of Trump tariffs insofar that it has revoked earlier concessions extended to NVIDIA. Second, this also suggests that the U.S.-China undercurrents are rather abusive, even as there appears to be some calm on the surface. Europe awakens. America's loss is proving to be Europe's gain in financial markets. The euro is the strongest in 3 years. German 10-year bonds last week beat treasuries by the most ever. And while European shares have been knocked by the trade war, they're turning out to be far more resilient than American ones. It's the result of a push-pull dynamic as investors reject the Trump administration's unpredictable and damaging trade policies that are undermining years of U.S. exceptionalism. And where European markets were once seen as something of a backwater, hamstrung by the region's struggle to generate meaningful growth, Germany's recent decision to spend billions of euros on infrastructure and defense is transforming the long-term outlook. China open to talks if U.S. shows respect, names point person. China wants to see a number of steps from President Donald Trump's administration before it will agree to trade talks, including showing more respect by reining in disparaging remarks by members of his cabinet, according to a person familiar with the Chinese government's thinking. Other conditions include a more consistent U.S. position and a willingness to address China's concerns around American sanctions in Taiwan, said the person who asked not to be identified to discuss internal thinking. Beijing also wants the U.S. to appoint a point person for talks who has the president's support and can help prepare a deal that Trump and Chinese leader Xi Jinping can sign when they meet, the person said. Trump launches critical minerals probe to weigh new tariffs. President Donald Trump has launched a probe into the need for tariffs on critical minerals, the latest action in an expanding trade war that has targeted key sectors of the global economy. The order, which Trump signed on Tuesday, calls for the Commerce Secretary to initiate a Section 232 investigation under the Trade Expansion Act of 1962 to evaluate the impact of imports of these materials on America's security and resilience. According to a White House fact sheet, if the secretary finds that the imports threaten to impair national security and the president decides to impose tariffs, those levies would take the place of current so-called reciprocal duties Trump announced earlier this month on U.S. trading partners. The order covers a range of minerals, including rare earth elements that the U.S. government considers building blocks of our defense industrial base and crucial to building jet engines, missile guidance systems, advanced computers, as well as radar, optics, and communications equipment. The order also covers uranium, as well as processed forms of the minerals and derivative products. Top overnight news: White House plans aggressive campaign to isolate China economically by forcing countries to limit their dealings with Beijing in exchange for reduced American tariffs. USJ: Japan is set to be the first nation to have trade talks with the U.S. People familiar with the situation said the U.S. had signaled priorities for the talks, including LNG imports, boosting market access to ags, and Japanese auto legislation, FT. There is more talk in the media about the White House potentially forcing Chinese firms to delist from American stock exchanges. China is open to talks of the U.S., but first wants Trump and his administration to show more respect, articulate a consistent position toward Beijing, and appoint a single individual empowered to negotiate BBG. China unexpectedly appointed a new Intel trade rep on WED, installing a fresh person to lead negotiations. via the U.S. The change could signal that Beijing is hoping to make a breakthrough in talks WW Washington SCMP. China's economic data comes in ahead of expectations, including Q1 GDP plus 5.4% versus the street plus 5.2%, MAR retail sales plus 5.9% versus the street plus 4.3%, and MAR industrial production plus 7.7% versus the street plus 5.9%. RTRS, BOJ likely to downgrade its growth forecast at the upcoming meeting due to fallout from Trump's trade war. RTRS UL reported strong Q1 EPS upside at 91C versus the Street 74C. Wash the beat driven largely by healthy margins. Adjusted pre-tax margins rose 360 BPYY to 3%, while sales were mostly in line. Revenue rose 5.4% to capacity plus 4.9% and RASM plus 0.5%. RTRS Donald Trump's tariffs are forcing private equity groups to pause their deal-making and focus on managing their existing portfolio companies in a stark reversal of earlier expectations for a boom in activity under the new administration. FT. There's a more. There's actually not that much. Yeah, there's a couple of things. You had WTO. They downgraded what they expected from the world. And then Petrobras. Or Vista Energy buys Petronas Argentina, an all-cash deal. So that just came out. But we have more news. Good morning. Where are we? All right, S&P futures, they're down by 0.8 Wednesday morning, though off the worst levels. Comes after U.S. equities finished mostly lower on Tuesday, with chemicals, food, beverage, cosmetics, apparel, retailers, QSR, paper, refiners, parcels, logistics among the laggers. Banks, airlines, and semis and defensive fare better. Treasuries narrowly mixed with the curve steepening. Dollar down by 0.6. Gold is up by 2.5. Bitcoin is up by 0.3. And WTI is up by 1. Trade back as an overhang as NVIDIA announced new government export restrictions on H20 chips, triggering a $5.5 billion write-down. AMD also hit with export licensing requirement, while market has recently focused on tariff off-ramp. Last week's higher reciprocal tariff pause, electronic exemption, Trump hits about some relief for autos. Tensions with China has continued to escalate. Latest report discussed how Trump admin planning to use upcoming flurry of trade deals to try to isolate China's economy in exchange for reduced U.S. tariffs. On somewhat more positive note, Bloomberg reports this morning said that China potentially opened to talks with U.S., while it also named a new trade envoy. March headline, retail sales excluding autos and sales excluding autos and gas all a bit better than expected. Control group missed, but February revised up by 0.3 to 1.3. Motor vehicles up big, 5.3 month over month. Tab to pull forward ahead of tariffs. As everybody panic buying a car, it showed up on retail sales. Industrial production for March and NAHB housing market index for April also out this morning. Fed Chair Powell to deliver speech on the economic outlook at the Economic Club of Chicago at 1:30. Hammock and Schmid, other Fed speakers today, though later is after the close. Washington in focus will be on trade talks between U.S. and Japanese officials. Earnings activity to pick up. ASML missed on bookings and noted heightened macro volatility from tariffs. UAL Q1 better, reaffirmed full-year EPS. A stale environment also provided guidance for a recession scenario and said forward bookings over the last 2 weeks have remained stable. JB Hunt beat with the focus on better intermodal revenue, though company also noted timing of freight recovery remains uncertain and TL market loosened in quarter one. IBKR missed earnings, announced 4-for-1 stock split. OMC lowered midpoint of full-year organic growth guidance by 50 basis points on a heightened macro uncertainty. Outside of earnings, financial press highlighted failed attempt by Meta CEO Zuckerberg to get Trump to intervene on antitrust case. Reuters said Tesla plans to start mass production of cybercab and semi-electric trucks could be hampered by tariffs. Kenvue announced AI collaboration with Microsoft. Lyft acquired European mobility app FreeNow for around $197 million. And then Pershing Square discloses new stake in HTZ. And sadly, I think that's all the headlines. Let's see. Let me double check. Again, got Jerome Powell. Yeah, bro, I think that's it. You guys want European headlines? I might have some European ones. ASML, no. Yeah, you guys are dry. That's it. Hot dog. Most read. No economic calendar. Yeah, bro. That's it. Retail sales, China tensions continue to escalate. Guidance from UAL. Uncertainty as big one earnings theme and dual guidance. Bank of America survey takes bearish turn. Shows record intent to cut U.S. stock allocation. Fed Governor Waller says threat of recession could favor earlier rate cuts. Positioning still seen as largely supportive for continued relief rally. Strategists remain cautious on U.S. stocks. Latest New York Fed survey shows deterioration in labor market. April Empire State Manufacturing shows near record pessimism around outlook. Yeah, that's it. That's it to the U.S. manufacturing cap utilization rate coming out now. But other than that, Chad, let's get into some pre-market movers. So not bad. Not bad. Again, today's the big day. I think we are just waiting for all the events, but even retail sales, kind of a small reaction. But you got some movers. Burp. So UAL, they're still up by 6 on earnings. All the other airlines are up in sympathy. I would watch travel as well. Budweiser is up by 3.1. Heineken earning sympathy. CCEP is up by 2.9. Nothing. TRV 2.4 off earnings. Net up 1.9. Mizuho upgrade. LMT up 1.5. Morgan Stanley upgrade. CFG is up by 1.1 off earnings. USB 1.0 off earnings. PGR up 0.4 off earnings. HTZ up 27. Pershing Square discloses 12 million share stake in amended 13F. ALV is up by 6 off earnings. USAR is up by 6.1. Trump starts probe into critical mineral imports. GO is up by 1.9. Jefferies upgrade. Lyft is up 1.7. Oppenheimer initiates outperform. ICAD up 71. RDNT to acquire an all-stock transaction. NB is up 15. Trump starts probe into critical mineral imports. EPIX up 12.9. Holder Soleus Capital discloses letter to board seeking wind down of operations. ARAN up 12 off earnings. VZLA up 4. PPTA up 3. Trump starts probe into critical mineral imports. Gold and silver trading higher. IBKR trading lower by 6 off earnings. JB Hunt down 6.4 off earnings. ANET down 4.3. Bull down 3.9. Hood down 3.6. Dell down 3.1. VRT down 3.1. Ferg down 1.7. Acquires independent pipe and supply company. Tesla down 1.7. RDNT down 3.5 to acquire ICAD. Calm down 3.5, 3 million offering shares. RevG down 3.2, Morgan Stanley downgrade. IonQ down 3, MOU with Intellian Technologies. HXHX down by 21. Semis trading lower, and select Chinese ADRs trading lower. Burp! So Chatadonia, that's it, man. That's it. Yeah, I don't think Powell will move the market. I mean, I think everyone's going to be listening and everybody will be locked into whatever he has to say. But at the end of the day, I don't think he has much. It will be about the economy. But other than that, I mean, we will see. I don't know what Bill Ackman sees in Hertz. I don't know. You never know, baby. Powell's going to be around 12:30 or 1:30. So it's going to be a little bit. We actually got to wait. 1:30 Eastern, so it's going to be like middle of the day. We're going to go over. I don't know if we're going to hear from Japan first or after, so that'll be the interesting part. But other than that, Chatadonia, we have made great time today. Well, yeah, we're way ahead of schedule. Not too many headlines, but we are waiting for all of the events. So that being said, you know what time it is, baby. You know what time it is. And here at the Cult, baby, before we do anything, before we try to chase a dollar, before we try to enrich ourselves, we must pay homage to a very special group of people that has made a sacrifice that most of us never have and ever will. And it's one of the major reasons why we are all here today, and I'm talking about the veterans of the United States of America. So on behalf of the Cult, the people here, the people not here, I want to give a huge special shout out, active service, past service, anybody who has served this country, even the families, for real. Thank you for giving up all of the things you have for our freedom. Thank you for honoring this country in a way that not everybody has. And if you haven't served, man, I just really hope you could show this love and appreciation in real life. Because if anybody deserves it, it is the veterans. So veterans, please, if anybody should be getting a crib, anybody should be doing the real estate, man, that's all you. So let me know how I could help. But at bare minimum, thank you all for everything you have given. And I truly hope that all of us as a society, you know, we can make good progress and steps towards honoring and giving the honor the veterans deserve. Because, again, every day, bro, we wake up and enjoy this freedom, and a lot of us didn't really have a direct hand in it. So those of you who did, man, for real, thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless every single one of you. And big shout out to anybody else out there still giving back to their communities, doctors, nurses, teachers, firefighters, police officers, the janitors, the coaches, the garbage men, anybody making their community run, baby. God bless you and thank you. But ladies and gentlemen, please rise. Place your right hand over your heart. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all, baby. Son of the judge! Oh, it's game time, baby. Horna. Let's go. Oh, Chatadonia. Oh, are you ready? Are you ready? Yeah, we got good time. I already showed you pretty pictures. I think I did last night. That's it. I got pretty pictures. We got everything, but you do have 9 minutes now, so we're ahead of it. Might as well. Let's move on over to Gen Pop, and then we'll just go over the plays. We'll be early, and then that's it. And then we're ready to go. But if you do have any questions, we could kind of go over all of those and see where it leads us. But other than that, baby, thank you to the veterans. I truly hope y'all honor them, and I hope y'all bring that to real life. And let's have a good day. It's Wednesday, baby, and be ready. Be ready for change of pace. Slow or fast. Don't let the change of pace clap ya. Amen? Amen. All right, I will see you on over there. Actually, let me make sure. I don't know if it's going to take us to Gen Pop. I forgot to double check. It should take you there, but just in case. Please hold while we connect your Gen Pop. Thursday Junior? Oh. Where is it? Please hold. Can't you just let them in here? I could, but then I think it'll mess up some of your features. And then they're going to complain to me about the other. I'm like, why isn't it working? How come it's not there? So we'll just make it easier for everybody, even though it's kind of harder. But either way, I think we're good. Yeah, nice. All right, I'll see you over there. Get ready, Powell, Japan, and everything else. So you have a good evening. You have a wonderful day. It's not even an evening. It's the morning. It's like 6 a.m., dude. So let's get it. God bless America. Thank you to the veterans. For real, baby. And I will see you there and peace.